Hey, what is up? Welcome to an extra cozy edition of Mangalku. Jose, Sam, we're back doing the monthly manga book club that we do here. This week we read Go With the Clouds North by Northwest. It's by Aki Irie, something like that.
We can't pronounce the names. I'm so sorry if we butcher it.
Yeah, listen, this thing is based out of Iceland. Aki Irie. That one's Japanese, and we just still can't do that one. This manga, in case you didn't pick up, takes place in Iceland. So the main character has the name of Kei, which is easy. But then everybody else has an Icelandic name, which makes it very hard.
Let's start with his grandfather.
So we were debating before recording. I think it's Jax.
I say Jacques or
Jacques or Jocks or something like Jocks
that,
would be one. And then the names get harder from there.
Yeah.
So let's do our normal. We're going to give you a spoiler-free, did we like it, a quick summary, and then we're going to move into the full spoiler review on this one. I'm going to give the pitch here that I've given to Josh. I gave it to Matthew. I don't know if I sold you on this manga before I handed it over to you.
You did, right before we did.
So here is the first volume summarized, which doesn't really have a lot of spoilers, but I think the first volume is the perfect setup to this series. You pick up with the main character's name is Kei. He has just moved, or not even just, but he's moved to Iceland from Japan because their parents died.
Yeah, he lives with his grandfather.
He lives with his grandfather in Iceland, and he has a younger brother, which doesn't come into play until a little bit later. But he basically is kind of like a problem solver. Like, that's his job. He'll go around, and he's
kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like a detective almost, but he's not solving any crimes. It's kind of like an example is, oh, I was sightseeing and I lost my phone. Can you please go get it to me? I gotta go. And he'll go like, sure, that'll cost you like $100. And then he'll go run off.
Plus
and go
expenses.
Yes, plus expenses. So then he goes and he just like does tasks, and that's kind of his job. So you follow this guy around. He's doing all these fun little tasks around Iceland, which is beautiful in this manga, absolutely beautiful. And eventually he tries to call his younger brother, who is living in Japan with his uncle and aunt while he lives with his grandfather in Iceland, and he can't get a hold of his brother. Tries to call the aunt and the uncle. Both of them don't answer, which is immediately a red flag to Kei because they're like your classic hard-ass Japanese people.
Yeah, their routine. They wake up at 9, go to bed by
They never miss their routine. They same time every day. They're doing the same thing. So he's like, oh, fuck. So he goes back to his grandfather. They immediately hop on a plane from Iceland to go to Japan. And when they get there, they find out that the house that they were living in, the younger brother and the uncle, is now up for sale. They don't know what happened. They're just gone. They get a hold of the realtor, and they basically just like, hey, please, like my younger brother lived there. Like that was my aunt and my uncle. What happened to them? You find out the aunt got hit by a car on her way back from getting groceries late at night. And then the uncle just died shortly after that from a sickness. The younger brother, he has no idea what happened to him. Nobody knows where he went. So they end up breaking into the house, and they basically look at the receipts and stuff. It's like, oh, he's going to go to Iceland. Like, the last thing he did was pull a bunch of cash out, and he's going to try to make his way to Iceland to find, his brother. Obviously. So he goes back to Iceland. Kei and his grandfather go back to Iceland. And they're like, yeah, we'll just wait from there. So you get to see him do a couple more tasks until one night he gets basically fucking jumped in an alleyway by this older gentleman.
Yep.
And this guy is beating the shit out of Kei. And Kei is like, what the fuck? And he explains that, where's your younger brother? Where is he? And he's like, what do you mean? It's like, I haven't even seen him. And he's like, I know he's here. Like, where is he? And Kei the whole time is like, he's not here. And the guy thinks he's lying. And the guy is like, he killed my friends. Like, you need to tell me where he is. And Kei's like, no. It's like, my brother would never do that. And you find out that this guy's friends is his aunt and uncle that he's talking about. And he's like, he killed your aunt and uncle. Why don't you care about this? And Kei, being a good brother, is like, no, my younger brother would never do that. He's a nice guy. He's super awesome. And so eventually this guy is like, fine, if you're not going to tell me where he is, fuck you, beats the shit out of him and leaves. And a mysterious guy comes and retrieves him from the alleyway. And of course, it's Kei's younger brother.
Yep.
He retrieves him, takes him to this house of a girl he met on an earlier task, who they kind of have a thing, that they develops a little bit later. And they are basically talking now that Kei has awoken because he got beat the shit out of him. They go outside, and the girl, who is a musician, is like, oh, can I just be out there with you guys while you talk? I don't understand Japanese, but I just like hearing you guys speak. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, if you want to hear us speak Japanese, fucking go for it. So they go outside. They start talking. And Kei, of course, like, hey, do you know this guy who, like, he's asking about you?
Jumped me, yeah.
And his younger brother is like, well, I don't really know him. And Kei can immediately tell he's lying.
Yeah.
So Kei's like, don't lie to me. He's like, I can tell. And he's like, fine. It's like shortly after our aunt died, he was coming around the house to visit our uncle a lot. and I just always thought he was kind of scary. And so I may have not answered his phone call a couple of times because I didn't like him.
Natural BS.
And so Kei, I think, asked him, was like, oh, well, did you, like, what happened to our aunt and uncle? And he says the same thing. Got hit by a car, died shortly after that due to sickness. And so their grandpa shows up to come pick them up. The younger brother runs off to go hug their grandpa. And then just as Kei is going to leave, he's stopped by the girl. And the girl is like, hey, I obviously can't understand what you're talking about. This is not the exact words, but I can't understand what you guys are talking about, but don't trust that guy.
Yeah, she says, like, by the tone of his voice, it just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, he just straight up tells Kei, it's like, I can't understand Japanese, but I can tell, like, he's bullshitting. Like, something is off about him. And that's the end of the first volume. So that's, I would say, is the selling point. That it kind of turns into, like, a little mystery thing. It's fantastic. I really liked it. I don't know about you. I thought it was really good.
It was a super quick read. Not just playing off the whole murder mystery thing, but Iceland is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Dude, they have a whole part in one of the volumes where they're like going around all the different destinations.
I like that.
And it's like, man, I wish if we were more successful as a channel, it would have been awesome to go to Iceland and talk about this.
Yeah.
like, hey, yeah, we're doing the Mangalku. We're just out in the fields of Iceland. Like, hey, what's up?
I would love to. I love waterfalls. I love hikes. All that stuff.
Beautiful, dude.
So I saw it, and at first I was like, are these like places I've never, just the spelling of some of them. So I started Googling them. I'm like, holy fuck. The Golden River, that waterfall.
The sad thing is I don't know how popular this manga is, but it does a great job of selling Iceland to you.
Yeah.
Like, Iceland should give her a fucking award for how good
Ambassador
of a job she's
right
done.
here.
Like, holy shit. I got done reading that. I was like, man, I would love to go to Iceland.
It just seems so dope. And then just the way the story progresses from, it starts very slice of life. And I think that's what you told me originally, slice of life. But then it's like murder mystery. And then it's just like back. It's got a nice even balance between all of it.
It's a very nice change of pace from the manga that we normally read on this book club.
Yeah.
Because
usually
normally
it's shonen.
Heavy shonen.
Yeah.
Like, we're going shonen. This is one that I picked purely knowing nothing about it, and I just thought the covers looked cool and it felt nice because I would get them into the store.
Yeah, like the texture on the front of it is just really nice, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so it's like I just picked it blind, didn't know anything about it, and it doesn't have any digital edition, by the way. So if you're someone who, like me, I gotta say, I so much more like reading manga digitally. I like it so much more because I spend a lot of time in the true I should be much fatter than I am mode, laying on my bed, laptop on my chest, and I'm just like this, just on there. So I don't want to leave that position, and I want to just be able to read the manga from my laptop. Doesn't have any digital edition, no Kindle, no Nook, no Comixology.
I tried looking for it on my for the iPad because I like the same thing of the iPad. It's just literally just laying there.
And it's like I just like reading it on the computer, and a lot of times you get the bigger images too.
Yeah, you can blow it up like a specific way.
Yeah. So, but this doesn't have any digital, but it was still fucking fantastic. I ended up setting up a that desk lamp that I have, the white one with the bendy top on it. And I plugged it into the wall outlet next to my bed.
So you can like read it in bed? Yeah.
Yeah, so that way I could just turn it on and have it behind my head, and it just lights up the whole book. And it was a good read, man. It was really good. I really, 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 really do recommend this. I think this was...
I do too. I think it's not talked about enough, and it doesn't have the right amount of publicity.
It was really good. Like, I think just in terms of uniqueness and obviously going off the beaten trail of stuff that we read already, it was fantastic. It's one of my favorites, I think, because... it's different. The other ones are all just the same. Either they're a mixture of shonen, ecchi, and like comedy. They're like the kind of the ones.
There's always an objective to them.
Yeah,
these ones are kind of like
this is awesome.
Almost day to day, but like even the way they build the relationships. Is
like,
what
we're
I
gonna
like
go to do fun tasks around Iceland, and it's like, oh yay!
Yeah, and I was just like, hell yeah, let's go.
Take me along, baby.
Volume 2. His friend comes over.
Yeah, it's fucking it's so good. Read this manga. I don't know if it's popular. I don't know anything about it, but read it. I highly, highly recommend. You won't be disappointed.
You got our seal of approval.
Yes. Okay, so let's go into spoiler reviews. If you haven't read this and don't want it completely spoiled for you, stop now. Skip to the end because we'll be talking about what's coming up next for Mangalku in terms of the manga book club and stuff like that. So go straight to the end if you want to see what we're reading next so you can hop on board. This manga starts off, I think the first volume is perfect.
Yeah, I think it was great.
That being said, I think the first volume was so good for us reading it because we get the following 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I read the first, scratch that. I was gonna say something negative, but if I read the first volume, like let's say just the first volume came out, and we're doing just first volume reviews, I would read the first volume and be like, fuck, I wish there was more.
Yeah, same.
Because I read that, like, I was kind of putting off reading this for quite a long time, and I was like, I don't know. It's like I just wasn't very excited about it because there's a certain level of I don't know anything about it, so I don't have any level of excitement for it, and I just kept putting it off. But I think
that's kind of the best way to do it now. Is just kind of
So I eventually sat down. I'm like, hey, I gotta fucking read this thing. I'm gonna sit down. I read the first volume, and I was like, that was fucking fantastic. It was so well done.
Pitched it to us after that.
Just from building like the characters, like Kei and Jocks, the two of them together was fucking fantastic.
I love that relationship that they have.
So
it's so
good.
Fun.
Him doing all of the tasks around Iceland, and like they slowly introduced the grandfather was one of the tasks, and then you meet the girl that lives with the grandfather's girlfriend, and it's like, okay. It's like I like that a lot, and you just slowly learn these little tidbits. And we didn't talk about it in the summary because I didn't want to spoil it, but the main character has a power.
Yeah.
It's a very minor, like, I don't even know if you would call it, it's obviously a power, but
it's unique though because he like talks to almost inanimate objects.
Yeah.
So you see him talking to his Jeep or to his car. I forget what they call it there.
It's one of those, if it was you were in a superpower world, you would be pissed you had it. But because like not a lot of other people have powers, it's very unique. It's very cool.
And it's a thing that I think skips generations is what he mentioned.
Yeah, so
because his grandfather can talk to birds.
Yeah.
And I was
so
just
his grandfather has it, but then his father doesn't have it, but then he has it. But then you also find out that the brother has a power.
Michitaka, I think.
Yeah, and so you find out that this is skipping all over the place, but the Kei has the power to talk to inanimate objects, and kind of like he's able to almost kind of like search through them as well, like which he does with the phone at one point.
At one point, he searches a phone without turning it on or something, and he's just like, "Oh, okay."
No, he turns it on, but then he doesn't have to unlock it or anything, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I didn't do this, this is that," because I think he had to turn it on for a second, and that's when he got the phone call.
Yeah.
So, the first volume, really good, really good.
Do we want to discuss just like how the whole thing plays out in the first volume?
So in the first volume, I kind of gave the summary in the spoiler-free review.
Yeah.
Then in the second volume, which I thought was crazy and a little disappointing, they set up at the end of the first volume, like I said, that the younger brother might be like a fucking murderer
or something.
Like this is going to turn into a murder mystery. And then it kicks to the second volume where time has passed, and you find out that the grandfather kicked out the younger brother.
They don't explain it though. It's just he just says it. So
I just assume, like from reading that, the moment I read that, it was like, oh, the grandfather knows.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I thought too.
He's able to tell like this guy's full of shit. Like he's not staying here. It's not happening. But it was kind of weird because you find out like you don't see him for a few chapters. You see nothing about the younger brother.
You don't see the younger brother until the end of the second volume.
So you don't see anything, but then you find out that it's kind of like a weird balance where the grandfather said like he's not staying here, but he could stay with my friend who lives like out there,
like some farmer.
Which that makes me double think if the grandfather really knew like, hey, this kid's off, like you wouldn't pawn him off to your friend.
I wonder if because you find out later on that the younger brother is extremely clingy. Like extremely clingy. But I don't know if he sensed that immediately and was like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this.
Yeah, it's a possibility because the grandfather seems like that cool character who's just kind of like well, he's both wise because he's a professor.
Yeah,
he's a professor.
He's a professor there.
And he's both extremely wise and extremely intelligent. Both of them.
It's funny because the way they introduce him, going back to the first volume, is Kei immediately is like, he's solving things, he's doing stuff for people, and he gets this beautiful woman who's like, hey, I need your help. What was her name? Katya, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And she requests help to find a man who just left her speechless and she was in love with. Like, this man did what I thought was the funniest thing because her bra came off and he like finds it out of hot springs, puts it back on her, and then she's like, yeah, he had a very distinct laugh. And immediately he's like, I know this dirtbag.
That was one of the best parts where it's like he's slowly putting together that it's like, oh, this woman's talking about my fucking grandpa.
And she's like, I guess you must really be the luckiest lady ever. And then they go, he takes her to meet him and stuff.
Yeah, doesn't he say like when they first meet in the hot springs, he's like, I don't need to know your name because if you're truly like a match made in heaven, we'll meet again. It's like
I feel like the grandpa knew that he was that good that he would get his grandson to come look for him or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, man, that's fucking crazy. Because that's when we get the introduction of his grandfather, Jocks, and then it is Katya.
Oh, it is Katya. Yeah.
So, which is just fucking so good, dude.
Yeah, and their relationship, it's pretty simple, but it's pretty cool.
I like that they stay together.
Yeah.
When I first read it and like you meet Katya and you meet Jocks, I thought that was just gonna be like a quick side thing, and we're never gonna see Katya again.
Yeah, but she's actually very important to the story, even because you find out that this girl that Kei has been kind of seeing all over the place is her niece. And it's funny because he like walked in and saw her like bathing in the river naked. Then he like finally gets to her house and he walks in on her taking a shower or something.
Yeah. Yep. And but you also remember in the very beginning.
Oh, that's right.
She was like showed up to his car.
Well, she was just out there, and then Kei rolled his car off the side of the road and just spent the night in there because it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it started raining, and so he's like, he even tells that story. He's like, oh, some people believe in like goblins or fairies or whatever, and they steal your stuff. So I'm like, oh, she's a fairy. She's not real.
So the girl's name is
Lilia?
Lilja.
I'm just gonna say Lilia.
Lilia? I think Lilia would be how I pronounce that. And then it is Michitaka, and those are the key players. So that's all I'm gonna remember there.
Yeah, but it's just I love their relationship throughout the whole thing because
I love it so much, dude. It is my favorite relationship out of any of the manga that we've read.
So
it's so good.
What was the don't bully me one? No,
the what?
The don't bully me one that we read.
Oh, don't bully me. It's right here. Don't toy with me, Miss Nagatoro.
See, it's like that, but mature. Like, that's
so
what I expect
good,
to be more of like I know it's weird, but it's like an ideal relationship for me, where it's like you're both able to kind of like mess with each other and still be able to like have a good time.
I think that explains it perfectly. Like there's this whole chapter where they're kind of getting closer and they decide to go running together.
Oh my god,
good dude.
My favorite part is like, and I've done this. You can't help if she starts beating you and you're just like, damn.
Yeah,
that's a good
looking.
I
like from Kei's point of view. It starts off with like, oh, this is fucking annoying, and then like she starts running in front of him. He's like, oh, she's actually kind of fast.
He's like, no,
and then he starts thinking of like, this is annoying because I either A, have to beat her.
Yep.
B, let her win, but then she's gonna be pissed.
Yep.
Or it's like, and then see if like I try really hard, she's gonna be mad and she's gonna stick around. And then, so he's like trying to figure out how he can solve this with her leaving.
All he wants is to just have a nice morning run. And it's funny because he's like, oh, I run here every day. She's like, I run here every day too. Sometimes.
yeah. She just like starts fucking competing with him out of nowhere. And then the scene happens that you're talking about was like he's like thinking behind like, how do I do this? And then he notices her ass.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
it's just like.
And he just like runs behind her the whole time watching it.
Yep.
And then of course she's mad that he let her win.
Because he's kind of, I get this. I'm the same way where it's like he just will say whatever's on his mind and he's just like, well, I just like the view.
Yeah, and then it devolves into them touching each other's butt.
The best part is because she comes out of nowhere and just smacks his ass, which is a very much a girl thing that does to their boyfriend.
So funny, dude.
And then he goes and does it while she's drinking water. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Yep. And just everything they do is so good. And it's like it goes... I like it so much. I don't know what else to say. I like that. So let's go back to like the main storyline beats, because basically you get the hint that Michitaka's up to no good.
Yep.
You do see him in volume 2, I think, like cutting wires, letting sheep run
he
free,
was
which is a fucking asshole move.
I don't understand why, but it's like the last couple of pages in volume 2 where because he goes on this whole adventure, which me and Sam talked about, why we liked Iceland. Him and his friend come, and it felt like you were
his friend was great. His friend was so good.
My thing is, are the chicks and people in Iceland that nice? Like,
I think
he's
so,
taking
dude.
pictures with everybody.
I think so.
It's so cool.
And he talks about how attractive they all are, too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, they're selling me on Iceland.
Sam's going to live in Iceland,
I'm about to go out there. Do you remember, were you at the mall with me and Lewis when they had the bonsai festival going on? So
they had a bunch of like plants and everything.
Yes. So they had a big, I think it was just me and Lewis.
Yeah, because I remember you guys went before me.
They had a big bonsai like gathering at our local mall, and they had, as part of that, they had a like a photo contest or like a painting contest. And so you had to walk into this room on the side of like, it was inside the mall, and they like took over a little like shop that's normally not there. And so we're walking by and they have like guys sitting at the front of the table. I was like, oh, do we have to have a ticket to go in there? So we just kind of walk up. I'm like, yeah, go in. And so we go and they have like this is where they keep like the tournament winner shit. So we walk in.
So the gallery.
Yes, the gallery. And they have like the really fancy looking bonsai trees where it's like someone's done it for 1,000 years or something like that. Like, this is the first place winner who they've been able to carve the tree or like make it bend a certain way, make it look really fancy, like the ones you would see in textbooks. And so we're walking around looking, and they have a whole bunch of pictures up on the thing. And there's this little cabin in the middle of snow, and above it is the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
Which they talk about in this thing. And Lewis and I were just going around looking, and we were both staring at this picture. And I'm like, man, That'd be fucking cool to go there. It's like, I wonder where the fuck that is. Like, that'd be so goddamn cool.
It's like Iceland, Alaska.
And someone yells from across the room, "It's Iceland!" And it's like, we weren't even talking that loud. Like, it was just normal, like, talk. And this guy fucking yells. And we're like, thanks. It's like,
but it's just like, fuck. If I could see that, like, oh my God.
So cool.
If the U.S. is ever allowed to leave the country again,
dude, I would love to go.
Yeah.
I would fucking love to go. Maybe we wait till a lot of volumes of this comes out. We do round 2, then we go to Iceland.
Oh, dude, I'm not built for the cold weather. Like, even this, I will have like a full-on parka and
60
stuff.
here, and I got a blanket on Jose's triple layered.
I got a sweater and a jacket on top. But I would love to see something like
so
that.
Cool.
Oh, Sam, you would love coffee. Cool. Did this make you want coffee? I wanted coffee so bad every time I read this.
They sell it hard. Like, both the meat and the coffee, they're like on it hard. Yes. And they're like talking about how the lamb tastes better in Iceland because they're just like natural.
They're natural fed and everything.
It's like, man, and they're like, they have no stress and they just like fucking hang out.
I've never had lamb before, really, unless like
they sell it hard in here, dude. Yeah. They sell it hard.
And coffee, because I mean, it makes sense. It's always cold there, so you want coffee.
Yeah. So I mean, fuck yeah, because the parts we're talking about where it sells you on Iceland is when his friend comes over in the second volume.
In the second volume, I was like, whoa, this went from murder mystery to I'm just gonna hang out with my friend.
It totally changes, and they make it kind of go to a, like, I don't know, like a weird, like, I'm gonna take you to all the tourist destinations, and then they're fucking awesome. Yeah. It's like, he's like, yeah, these are normally just tourist destinations, and everyone they go to is fucking cool as shit. And I'm like, man, I'd be hitting all the tourist destinations.
Same, dude. And
fuck
dude, that just sounds like fun.
Dude, that spring they went to where they just lay down in the river.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking cool.
Again, Lilia's there.
Yeah, so cool.
I like that little tidbit with all 3 of them, and they're just like, oh, well, what kind of girl are you into? He's like, that one over there, and it just happens to be her.
It's Lilia.
He's like, fuck, never mind.
He's like, no, never mind.
I like how his friend's like, that's a really pretty girl I met.
Yeah, and they talk. Lilia and his friend talk after that. They keep up conversations. Because
Lilia likes Kei and vice versa, but it's just
they both kind of like each other, but they're both like
stubborn.
They don't want to admit it because they're both. I kind of take it as they're both like headstrong people who are doing their own thing. Like they
she's a musician, and
they
he's
both
like,
think like they don't have time for love. Like, because they talk about Kei's never dated anybody. Like, again, he's old. He's like 20 something.
Yeah, he's older.
Which is old for a manga and an anime. So he's like never dated anybody. And then same thing with Lilia, like Jose was saying, is a musician and very like kind of successful. I don't think they ever say how successful she actually is, but she is a musician. And
but she stays at her aunt's house a lot because she plays at wherever is closest.
So it's like they're both very busy people, and they both like, nah, I'm not in love with them. But it's like they clearly have feelings for each other, and it's like, man, I like it so much. I like
it a lot.
So in volume 2, pretty much like the whole thing is the friend hanging out, pretty much.
Which I thought it was great. Like if you hadn't seen your friend and you wanted to show him around, I think that's fantastic.
And then I don't remember what happens in volume 3 and 4, but we kind of get more about Michitaka at that point. And that's where we find out that he has a power, which is crazy.
I don't know if he's like a Death Note or something.
Yeah, so it's his power clearly has something to do with touch, 100%. And it's something like wherever he touches you, it feels like it's cut off.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I didn't
You're not
get.
able to use it anymore. Because they show the scene, this is jumping around a lot, but they show the scene where the guy, he first brings Kei into like this halfway house, pretty much, where he's staying. And this guy comes in and is like, oh, who's this? Who's this? And he's like, stay the fuck away from Kei. And he touches him on his arm.
Yeah.
And then the guy can no longer use his arm. Like, it just goes limp. Like, he can't use it. And the guy is freaking out. Like, what did you just do to my arm? And then he dies shortly after that.
Pretty much. It was just crazy. I think
not the younger brother, but the guy who showed up to wanted to touch Kei.
We get that at the end or something, or in the start of the 4th volume, because I think in this one, Kei goes back to working a little bit.
Yes.
And then he picks up that job from that one brother who wants to see his little brother who he hasn't seen in a while. Then he makes. You find.
Oh, yes, that was so good. I
thought that was really.
And
well
I
done.
like the girl that he meets from. That was her friend. Very good, very good. So yeah, that's where we first. So you kind of get, you go, Kei's doing jobs, and then he goes to the halfway house to help somebody.
Yeah, and I like the way he does it too. It's like, oh, you can't get in this house if you can't figure out the code. And so he breaks in, and the little kid watches him. He's just like, shh.
Yeah, so good.
The minute he breaks in, though, gets attacked by these chicks. I was just like, what the hell?
You basically find out it's like a house for.
It's like a party house.
Yeah, kind of like a party house for people who don't have anywhere else to go. Mm-hmm. And like, it's because the guy who rents out the place is just never there.
Yeah.
So like all of these scoundrels have just taken it over.
And he meets the kid like, well, because he gets attacked by those chicks and he's just trying to get out of it. Goes downstairs and he sees the kid and he's just like, oh, that's him.
Yep. And it's like, it was a really nice story where, I don't know about you, by the way, backtracking a little bit. I thought, like, when Kei's friend came over, I thought he was gay.
I thought so too at first, but he might have just been overly polite.
Like Kei and his friend, well, yeah, I think they were just overly, like, Japanese politeness. Mm-hmm. But I was getting some sort of romantic touches between Kei and his friend. And I was like, man, and I was like, I was pitching Kei and Lilia already for volume 2. So it was like, when his friend came over, I was like, oh, is Kei gay? It's like, I didn't even think. But I was reading the whole thing. I was like, I think he's gay. But then it's like in the later volumes, he goes back to like kind of being with Lilia. And it's very clear that he's not gay.
Yep.
But I thought for sure, I was like, oh, man, okay. It's like, sure, I guess we're going to put Lilia to the side. Fuck her. But no, they clearly like Lilia. But then in this one, you know, the main thing, you find out that there's this young delinquent. He's not really a delinquent. He's just disappeared, and nobody knows what happened to him.
He's this kid that just took off for no reason, and they were saying, like, he's never done this.
Yeah. And you find out it's like kind of a weird kind of nice story though, where it's like he developed, so his dad got remarried to another guy.
Oh, this is when the phone thing comes in play, because he touches the phone and he's like, oh, I see you have pictures of you and your dad constantly until 2 years ago or something.
He says he's a fortune teller, and he's like, do you have your phone? I'm going to tell you your fortune. And then he touches his phone, and then he's able to like look through everything, and even how much he's opened each picture.
Yeah,
because he's able to like, oh, like I could tell you look at a picture of your brother a lot.
Yeah.
And then he's like immediately embarrassed. So it all comes to a head where you basically find out this kid's like parent got remarried to another guy. So he has 2 dads now. And with that, he got a stepbrother who's older than him and like very attractive. And
I thought he had a mom still.
I think it's a dad.
No, he has a mom.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure he has a mom and brother because
there's 2 dudes that show up or 3 dudes that show up to pick him up.
I thought one was a lady.
So it's a mom. He just looks, the whole family is rocking the same ponytail haircut, and it looked like a dude to me. So his dad remarried to a mom, got a new stepbrother, and he has feelings for the stepbrother.
But the stepbrother got a girlfriend, which caused him to run away.
Yeah. So then he was like, oh, he'll never reciprocate my feelings. But then like he hugs his dad, and his dad knows already. I mean, like that was weird, right?
No, it's like I feel like you could tell, especially at that age. When
they always talk about that thing, you know, where it's like, oh, I already knew, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like so if you have like a good relationship with your parents, I imagine they pick up on that shit pretty easily.
I remember Tyler, the creator, said one of his friends, I don't remember if it was Ocean, but he says, I knew that dude was gay when we were 12. He's like, how'd you know? He's like, cause no one puts like frosting or something on their Pop-Tarts or whatever. He's like, I just knew there was something up with him.
So that was like a really sweet story, because then like the older brother is cool as shit about it. Like,
yeah, like he's like, oh, I still love you. Like,
yeah, it's like, it's fine if you feel that way. I still love you. It's because like they're brothers now, and it was super fucking nice story. Like,
but we do get that thing that in Iceland, same-sex marriage has been allowed for over the past 20 years or so. So they're so progressive as fuck.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Dope. Like that was a nice story. Like I liked that one a lot, and you kind of get to see. Part of the thing also is when he goes to the halfway house, they're walking down the stairs to introduce him. And Kei is like, I feel like I've been here before.
Yeah, because he hears the specific creak.
Yeah. And then we go into a different side mission now to the girl who was the friend of
Sigrun or whatever.
Sigrun or whatever her name is. She was there basically helping that younger brother kind of like run away and hide. And so she calls up Kei, and it's like, yo, are you really a fortune teller? And he's like, well, it's too hard to explain, but, you know. Yeah. And so she's like, okay, I need you to find this girl who has just gone missing. Like, nobody knows where she is. And the only person that she talked to was me about anything, and she gave me her phone. Yeah. It's like, I want you to do the same thing you just did for John on this phone.
I thought that was crazy, though.
Yeah. And that's when it all starts spiraling into, like, the third and the fourth volume kind of just fucking compound. Because they basically kind of look around first and look for hints. They're not finding anything. And finally, Kei is like, hey, I'm going to turn on the phone. I need to turn on the phone for a second.
Which the girl does say, like, oh, she said I was never supposed to turn on the phone because he would call. And then they're like, who's he? He's like, I don't know, someone that's after her or whatever.
Yeah, so they pick up, they turn on the phone. The phone immediately starts ringing. He picks it up. He's like, I'm going to pick it up. It's the easiest way.
And say, I found it on the ground.
And
I don't know who
this is.
It's
Michitaka.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, yo.
It's Kei's younger brother. I was like, oh, shit. I
was like, is he going to kill her? I was like, why is he after? So many things ran past my head.
Which was like kind of weird because like if I was Kei, I would immediately be like, oh, god damn it. Like you immediately with the detective coming to beat his ass in the alleyway, saying that he killed his
it would all make sense at that point.
And then like this girl who's disappeared, he's the only one that's calling this phone over and over again. You would just like, oh, maybe he is up to some bullshit.
Yeah. That shit was gnarly in that whole that whole little bit of the rest of the volume.
They basically, I'm just going to skip around. They basically track this girl down, and they find out that she is like, it is Michitaka. That's like, she doesn't want nothing to do with him. She says she's
terrified of him.
He's going to kill her.
Mm-hmm. She ran away. She got hitchhiked to this other place. And
here's where you find out that Jose mentioned earlier that he's needy and clingy, like in a bad way. Like when he first showed up to the halfway house, he met her because she was the only one who was like reaching out to him.
Because she found him laying on the floor, made him food and everything.
And then she had to leave for a little bit, and he refused to eat anything she wouldn't cook him, or that wasn't cooked by her. And then he didn't want to eat any of the food that she didn't personally eat as well.
Yep.
So like they eventually get him to eat chips. It's like, oh, she normally eats chips, like here. And then now he gets attached to the girl who's
the other girl,
chips. And then that girl starts freaking out like he's too much. Like she feels like she's suffocating, which is normal if someone's like fucking clinging on to you like that. And then he finds out that like he's like outside the door. Because
she's been gone for like a week or something.
Yeah, she told him like, oh, I'm gonna have to be gone too. But then she like sneaks back into the halfway house because she's not actually gone. And he overhears her saying this stuff. And then he does his magical powers,
snaps her in half,
and kills both of the girls. The girl that she was telling that to, and this girl that he was clingy to. And it's crazy. Like it's almost like when he does his power and he touches you, it shows him like slicing stuff off the arm, like he's a butcher almost. Like it looks like sliced meat, you know. And it's like, ooh, it's like yikes.
That's a little, it was gnarly, but I was just like, what the?
And then like the last girl that's alive from that is like, no, stop. And he starts going for her neck.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh geez, that's brutal.
Because he's like, goodbye, I won't see you anymore. And I was like, what?
Yeah. And so eventually, they put all this together, and Kei is finally like, we have to talk to Michitaka. Like, there's no way around it anymore. We have to talk to him. So they decide to go. They call ahead, like, hey, we're going to come by. And the guy that Michitaka is staying with is like, cool. It's like, no problem. We're just about to make dinner. He just, whatever. Michitaka goes out for a walk.
And never comes back.
Never comes back.
But he was also upset. I don't know. Maybe he's just like a serial killer mentality, but he was upset that the animals wouldn't even come near him.
Yeah, I think it is serial killer mentality. It's like one of those things where they say like animals are like a good judge of character.
Yeah.
Where it's like he was walking by all of the lambs and stuff that his, the guy he's staying with keeps, and they're just like all keeping like a 20-foot distance from him. Like he walks forward and they all leave. And same thing with like the birds too, right? They're like, nah.
My thing that got me was dogs. I think dogs are great judges of character.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh yeah, even the guy's dog doesn't even care to look for him. He's just happy as can be. And I was like, bro, that's something. Dogs don't lie.
Because they eventually Kei and Sigrun or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
They show up to obviously meet Michitaka, and the guy who he's staying with is like, oh, he went for a walk. He should be back by now. And eventually never comes back. And there's a text bubble where it says like that was the last time anybody knew the whereabouts of Michitaka.
That shit was
like
crazy.
What? And the part Jose was talking about, they eventually like decide, okay, this is weird. He should be back. And so they try to get the hunting dog to go find him, and he's like, nah.
But immediately after that, we cut back to, I think, the detective, and he's back in Japan now.
Yep.
And I like what happens here. He like goes to the convenience store and he figures out that he would visit that same girl and that one guy died.
Yep.
Then he goes back to the school and he talks to the nurse, and the nurse is like,
that was
a roller coaster right there. I was like, holy shit.
So you basically find out that it's like he's been exchanging like kisses and stuff for
food and stuff,
like goods, like
because it was like an affection thing, and then he started fights with everybody.
Yep. And then like everybody was fighting for his affection, whether it was guy or girl. And so they would all start fighting each other, and he took pleasure in it. Like he was like, and it's like it all went up to, and I think they're hinting at he might have killed their parents.
Well, because he says that the mom disappeared or something like that because he would only eat the mom's food.
So that's
what led to him exchanging kisses for food.
And then he said it went up to when his teacher found him kissing another guy and like exchanging for goods, where I think it was a she, was finally like, this has to stop. Like you can't do that anymore. I'm gonna call your parents. I'm gonna tell them. And he like freaked out. He's like, no, please don't. And then you find out shortly after that the mom died. Yeah,
the mom died, and then the teacher died.
So it's some
and I was like,
shit.
What?
Yeah, and the detective's like,
interesting.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the whole time he's like, I don't have any proof. Like I don't get it. So then he meets that kid at the park, and the kid's like, oh yeah, he came to the school and he was with a rough crowd immediately.
Yeah.
But then he became their like kingpin.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what?
It's
and then
just crazy, man.
I like where it's going.
And it's like this. We haven't really described Michitaka, but he's a very like pretty boy.
Yeah, he's a beautiful boy is the way they describe him a lot.
Yeah, and it's like he's drawn like super nicely. And it's like, damn, okay. And it's like you see him like sitting with this group of delinquents, and they're just like all like bowing down to him. And even the delinquents you hear, they're like, don't fuck with him.
Yeah,
like,
they're half Japanese, half Icelandic. I think is the thing because Michitaka's blonde, blue-eyed, and then Kei is dark hair and probably blue-eyed or so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think that's what it was.
That
they're half Japanese.
Okay. But yeah, fucking so good. And then of course, Kei still loving his younger brother. Once they find out that he's officially gone missing and nobody knows where he is, he starts like nonstop looking for him, just searching randomly
to the point of exhaustion and stuff. And he ends up at
Katya's house with Lilia again. And that's where Lilia has to be the MVP. And
basically, I was like, I fell in love with her right there. I was just like, dude, good. She straight up tells him, "You're not you" and stuff. And then he like wants his car key, so he's trying to like look through her clothes, and she's like, "Oh no!" She smacks him, finally puts him to bed, and writes him a lullaby. And I was just like, "Oh, good." I do like the next bit where she's like, "Oh," he's like, "Is that all you want to say to me? You don't remember touching my boobs?" And he's just like, "No." She's like, "I didn't feel anything was there." I was just like,
so good. And then like the next few chapters are like them going somewhere, and like even Jocks is like, "Dog, it's like you gotta
say sorry, dude."
It's like,
I thought it was really funny that Jocks is like, "Oh, I'm gonna put the back seat of this car in here." He's like, and when he's like, "You'll thank me later," I'm like, "What are you hinting at, bro? What's gonna happen?" Huh?
Yeah, he's the boy, dude. Jocks is so good. The whole thing I thought was really, really good. And Volume 5 is not out yet, so it's like
where it leaves off is still them looking for him, and then I think Kei's like, "Nah, I'm tired of looking for him," kind of thing. We're just gonna go on and off and look for him whenever I get the chance. He basically
says he's gonna go back to doing his normal thing and look at the same time because he travels all over Iceland for his job, anyways. Like he's going all over, so it's really fucking good, man. I liked it.
So is Katya that silver-haired chick, or not Katya? Lilia? Yeah, she's that silver-haired chick. I pictured her with red hair.
You think so?
I don't know why I pictured her with red hair.
She kind of looks like she could be like either like silver blondish hair.
Yeah, but I think it's because her aunt was a redhead. I think it's the way they described her.
Yeah, it's just it was so good. The last few chapters of Volume 4 is just like basically it's just like I think so. The volume ends with Jocks, Lilia, and Kei hanging out, and Jocks is like watching the two of them, and he's like, "Dude, they're fucking identical." It's like, they're like drinking the same way, they're eating the same way, I like they're acting the same way towards each other, and it's just like you get this beautiful shot of Iceland, and then it's like that's just like the end. And it's like,
I do like that part where he has like his special meat thing over here. And he's like, "Hey, do you want some sandwiches?" Like, no, that. He's like, "Why?"
Yeah, and then it's like he does give it to her, and Jock's like, "It's good that he at least knows the position that he's in."
It's just good.
It's really good, man, and it's like, I don't know, I didn't find much to fault with. The only thing I was kind of upset by is that we didn't get to see the Michitaka Jocks thing happen, but I do think it was for the better.
I think it's definitely going to happen later on, maybe possibly
I think they'll come back to
6.
Yeah,
because I could see this kind of running a lot longer.
Yeah,
I don't know how much longer it could run, but this is just fantastic.
Because I think they could come back later. Like Jocks is obviously going to always be around.
The other police detective guy.
Yeah. So I think like Jocks will look back on it, or like he'll bring it up like, "Oh, this is just like when he first arrived," and we'll get a flashback because they do flashbacks quite a lot. But man, it was so good. That was my only complaint, because it was like I was on board at the end of the first volume with the Michitaka stuff. I was like, damn, like that's interesting.
Way crazy.
And then second volume, like, nah, fuck him.
It's like we're just gonna have his friend come over and you're gonna fall in love with that.
Yeah, and so then it's like we get a whole different thing, and I still loved it. I still loved it. It's like just the first couple chapters in volume 2 for me. I was like, I kind of wanted to
like revisit the whole
Michitaka stuff. But then it was like it kept going. It's like, all right, I love it. I can't complain.
Just him and his friend too. I forgot his friend's name.
But
their interactions were great. Just very like, oh, this is what he does, this is what I do. But at the same time, it's like just taking the beauty of Iceland, and I'm like,
so good, so good. I would love to go to Iceland. How expensive do you think a ticket to Iceland is?
Fuck, I don't know.
Probably like. Do you think it's more expensive than going to Japan?
No, I think Japan's way more expensive. The only thing I think we'll have to deal with is flying to New York or something and then being stuck there for a couple hours and then flying out either to Europe or like just connecting flights.
I would love
be a
to
couple
go,
hours.
Dude. I would really love to go. Okay, that was the Mangalku pick for this month
of January.
Go with the Clouds, North by Northwest by Aki Irie. I hope that's the name. I don't fucking know. I'm sorry.
I'd like to get in contact with her.
I
just want to know a little bit more.
She had to have gone to Iceland.
Yeah.
She had to. There's
she
no way.
lives out there. I hope so, because all of the stuff she named is real world stuff, and just everything they do. She's just like, this is what you do in Iceland.
She must have gone and like fallen in love with it or something. There's no way.
I agree. That's just probably what it is, but it is beautiful.
Okay, so coming up, we are in a new year. This is the first one we've done for the year of 2021. We're going to mix it up. We're going to go 2 a month. We're doing 2 a month.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a method to the madness. Game plan at this current point in time is we will continue picking new manga every month to read. But then we're also going to have a mid-month one where we do another 3 or 4 volumes of one that we've already read, at least for the time being. Mm-hmm. So the next one that we'll be doing in 2 weeks, yes, 2 weeks, we're going to be going back to Eden Zero. We're going to be doing Eden Zero. While that's still fresh on the mind, I figure we'll
go back.
Hit that one back. We'll do Eden Zero because everybody said how fucking good the next arc is. So we'll do Eden Zero. I don't even know if there's 4 volumes up of that one left, but that's the one we're going to do next. And then the new one that we're going to do, so this will be the regular monthly manga book club. This will be next month's pick.
We'll call it Book Club Revisited or something like that. I don't know.
We'll just change it to the manga book club. It's no longer monthly. But for the next manga book club pick that we're going to do, we're going to go to the next manga that the Akame ga Kill writer did.
He did another one?
Done another one, and it's started in 2019, and there's already 6 volumes of it, I think. But it's
is he just not sleep?
I have no fucking idea.
Holy fuck!
It's not available officially, like in print anywhere.
Okay.
So this is going to be a digital one. It's called, I'm going to read the Japanese name here, Mato Seihei no Slave, and it's by Takahiro, is the guy who did Akame ga Kill. And I don't know much about it aside from it's got ecchi in the title, and it's gore as well.
Oh, okay.
So classic kind of for Akame ga Kill.
Yep.
And I really liked To Know What Got Crushed, and I really liked Akame ga Kill and Akame ga Kill Zero. So I'm sure I will like this one as well. I'm looking forward to reading that one. Of course, that'll be after Eden Zero. So it'll be interesting to see, like, coming from kind of like a fun shonen to like a dark shonen, which one we like more.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys check out Go with the Clouds North by Northwest. I feel like it's probably underrated and you guys should read it. We'll be back in 2 weeks with Eden Zero. Then we'll be back in a month with the next in the Akame ga Kill.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I would love to see this done in a movie adaptation in the same style that Your Name was done.
Oh, that'd be sweet, dude. That'd be because the scenes with Iceland would be fire.
Fucking gorgeous.
Dude, that'd be so cool. This could be a movie.
Yeah, that's
like
what I
just
mean.
A live action movie. Like this could easily be a live action movie. There's nothing like special about it. It's like you could just get two actors.
It's special, but I just mean like
there's no like superpowers or anything. Like you could just fucking head out to Iceland and just film this fucking thing. Oh, that'd be sweet.
That'd be great.
That'd be really sweet. Okay, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We'll be back. Let us know if you guys read this and you enjoyed it as well, what you thought. And let us know if you're going to be joining us on either Eden Zero or Mato Seihei no Slave. So I don't know what the English translation of that is, but let me tell you. Slave of the Magic Capital's elite troops. There you go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.